and the journey of your business. And so you are turning people who are listening into your episode from listeners into raving followers who will then recommend you to others because they know, like, and trust you. That's the fallout there. Two, podcasts are global. They are global. So when I said on a day-to-day basis, there are millions of episodes going live. They're absolutely millions. So just so I am not misquoting anything, I actually got the figures. I got the figures from Podcast Insights today. And according to there's currently over 660,000 shows globally. To highlight the growth, Apple confirmed that there's over 550,000 podcasts as of early June last year. And according to the Fast Company, as of April 25th, 2018, there were 18.5 million episodes of podcasts going out. So people are actively listening, they're connecting, they are following people who are creating these podcasts. And according to this, the stats continue. 49% of podcast listening is done at home, and 22% listen while driving, so they're commuting, they're in their vehicles. Podcast listeners subscribe to an average of 6 shows, and they listen to an average of 7 different shows per week. And the stats continues, and it breaks down to the demographic, the location, the gender. It breaks down to those who it really breaks down. So your avatar, your niche, your customer, your client, your next greatest client, your next greatest connection, your next greatest joint venture partner is a podcast listener, or has another podcast, or has a podcast of your own. So podcast allows for more connectivity. And if you do podcast shows that are interview based, you get to invite others onto your platform to share their story, like I do. And then I have access to their network, their community. I get to share other people's stories and journeys on my platform, and other people listen. So it's increasing your reach as a brand. It's increasing my reach as a brand. It's allowing me to be seen as an authority on someone who shares other people's story. This will do this for your brand as well, regardless of what your brand is. Podcasting allows you to kind of rise up above the din of social media, all that noise, to be seen as an authority. So that's a point here. So it's the authority part, it's building the next connections, it's connecting you to your next client, your next connection. And here's the best part about it is sometimes the person who will listen to your podcast is not your client, but they may be dating your client, they may be friends with your client, or work with your client, or be the best buddy of your client. So they're there to connect you with somebody else, because they will invariably, as we as human beings, social creatures that we share our stuff. Like, oh my God, I listened to this. You should hear this. That's what it does. And when I talk about connection building, podcasts are great for this, because you bring in somebody, you start connecting, you get to know their story, you get to know their journey. The thing is, it allows for organic partnerships to emerge. And when I talk about partnership, I learned something this weekend that actually just makes partnering with new people so much fun, because that person you partner with, or those people you could partner with, could be the person who has your client before you or after you, and in such a position that it allows you to have access to people that, oh, you know what, I can't help you, but I know who can. Or, hey, you know what, I've worked with you here, I think you need something else, I know the perfect person for you. This is how, building great connections work. And when you learn that, it's like, that's the power of joint venturing. But we digress. So yes, so it's about building great connections. And here's the other thing about having a podcast for your brand. It's your platform. You can directly sell, you can advertise, you can actually say, here, I have a product, this is what it does. Because you've given them value, you've shared your story, you've built a connection, you've built a following, you've built fans and loyal fans. And then you can say, hey, this is what I do. Come on board, get to know more, find out. And invariably, that leads to having more money at the end of the day, more clients, more money. You know what? Let's not lie. We all want money after we give great value and service. And this is another way of doing it. So, my 3 tips for today, for our podcast Friday, for why you should podcast for your brand is it increases your reach. I can't speak anymore. You become the authority. You become seen as the authority. You rise above the noise that is social media and that whole consistent basis. And people start to take notice when you put yourself behind the mic and start sharing. Whether your podcast is an interview style, whether it's you talking and sharing your experience and your knowledge, whether it's you teaching, it's your podcast. You can do what you want. 2, it allows you to connect globally. And if I hadn't said it already, let me reiterate. Podcast is not consumed locally only. It is worldwide. The highest consumers of podcasts actually are in South Korea. So you never know how far your reach could go simply by having people listen to your podcast, your story, your business, about your business, your brand, your values, what you put out into the world. This is really the amazing thing and allows you to build powerful new connections, new new partnerships, new followership, new clients could come directly from podcasting because if the people who are listening to your podcast are not directly your niche, your avatar, they know and or they know those people or they are the next best person to connect with who have the clients that you they can pass on to you. And it's really that simple. And invariably doing all of that will lead to more client work, will lead to you being booked more, you getting out of more stages, you doing what you do, doing what you love to do with amazing people. Invariably you get paid. So yes, this is the power of podcasting for your brand. So join me next time, same time next week, Friday, where we'll be tackling another point and question about why should people podcast and what can podcast do for you. So I'm Lillian Nabogo and join me next week. Thank you. Bye.